morning, Simran. How are you?
Pretty good. Yeah. No, I'm doing well. How about you, Nisha?
So far, so good, Simran. It's so nice to see you. And I really thank you for joining me here for this appreciation series.
Sure. Yeah. No, happy to be here as well and share my experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Simran. So, Simran, this is about, it's about you first, but it's also about helping another person who's coming, like it could be a new immigrant, it could be somebody who's trying to see how can they be successful in life. Sometimes all of our experiences nobody shares it completely, right? We all see the rosy picture of what we have attained or where we are now, but
Yeah.
then there is a lot of pathways where we come by or go through, and sometimes you're being helped by someone or you're pushed by someone. And I just want to share that to everyone here who's looking for their success, their destination, their journey here. And I would be really, really happy if you can share how you have come from a different country and made this as your country and come into a place where you can see that the destination is beautiful, but the pathway was, with struggles and with all of those ups and downs here. So share something about what you do now and what is
Sure.
your company doing and how do you serve in the community?
Sure. So again, my name's Simran, right? So I'm wearing a couple of hats over here. So at this stage, I'm working as an IT project manager for City of Calgary. So I support planning and development services in achieving their business goals. So that is number one thing that we do. The other thing is I do run a small company with my wife. It's a small logistics-based company, which basically, for in layman terms, it's basically is a brokerage which works with clients, get contracts from clients, and then uh, reaches out to trucking companies to kind of sell those contracts right over, and there is a profit that we make in between, and that is what is revenue for the company that we run, right? So uh, again, uh, a lot of effort has gone in being where currently I am, right? So, and more or less, it's the same effort that you want to spend in any country, be it Canada or India or any other country, right? So, a few things that new folks, especially new immigrants who are coming over to Canada, they need to consider is they need to have a goal in mind, right? So you need to work towards your goal. I know, like there is a huge difference in the currency factor when we move from India over to here, and in many cases, people start working towards setting up your house, buying a car, and things like that, and then they start doing. I won't say odd jobs, but I would say survival jobs, right? One thing that I've seen or I've learned from my experience, because I had a lot of my cousins or my relatives who moved here, is if you venture towards a survival job and if you consider that okay, this survival job is helping me paying my bills, people continue to do those survival jobs throughout, right? So because basically it's paying their bills, right? So you could be a civil engineer back home, but over here, because the construction segment is so different, you venture into trucking, for example, and trucking pays your bills and you continue doing trucking, right? So you have to first understand what your goal and objective in life is. If your goal and objective in life is just to make money, sure, that helps. Continue on that journey. But if your goal and objective is actually to be successful or follow your path which you set aside when you were back in India, like if you started working as a engineer back in India, if you want to continue that journey, then you need to have that goal in mind while living your life over here in Canada, like, for example, right? So, few things which are really important over here in this country for any new individual is one thing is uh, you should have a never say die attitude, right? So that is a number one
True.
piece that you need to consider, right? Because even back home in India, like for example, I'm from Punjab, and people people used to in the farming sector back home in Punjab, people used to bring people from like UP or Bihar to do work, right? I consider myself the same over here, kind of, right? Because this is a new country. This is, and you are people who have moved from a different country over here, right? So you have to first adapt to your culture, their culture in this particular country, right? And then continue building upon your culture that you currently possess, right? Because basically, for if you are just trying to go venture into a into a job, for example, right? The biggest factor, and Nisha probably can over here agree with me, is biggest factor that they consider while giving you a job is cultural fit, right? So you
True.
over here, this country runs on few norms, or I won't say assumptions, but few factors. One of them is that you are truthful to yourself and truthful to the community that you are working in, or truthful to the company that you are working in. They would not go behind your back and see, like, okay, this particular person said ABC. Is it really ABC or not? They would take ABC at face value because you have told it to them, right? So that is the biggest factor that this country is currently working on. And I'm worried that sooner or later in few years that particular factor would get broken because of new people who are coming in who doesn't work that way. And the second factor, or like two more factors that I consider is really important in this country for any individual, is integrity and ethics, right? Our community, and when I'm saying our community, I'm saying like people who have come from Punjab or from those places. Like, these are the factors that are unfortunately missing in many individuals over here, right? And as a result, we are breaking trust uh, in in many people, because they're saying like, okay, these individuals can go to any level to get a contract, for example, right? So that is something that I've not done up until now in my life. I've tried to work on ethics and I've maintained my integrity up until now, be it working at the City of Calgary for different clients, or be it running a small business, right? So you need to be truthful to yourself, provide when if you are trying to get contracts, give them the current market situation, right? So if you're getting a contract like moving one load from, for example, Calgary to Toronto, if that was $7,000 in February because the weather was at that time was not good, and those were the factors which were inputted while coming up with that cost factor. Those factors may not be true now because now the weather is really good, the road condition should be good as well, and the cost of that movement of that load should have come down, right? So if someone agreed to a particular price back in February, that could not be the same price now, right? So maintain that integrity, because if you'll showcase to your customer that, okay, yes, we are considering all the factors and we are giving you the best value for your contract, then they would give that contract automatically to you. But if they would realize, like, if they would go into the market and see, like, okay, this person is still asking 7K for this particular contract, but it is actually now market value is looks like is 4,000 or $4,500, they may still give you the contract because you have a relationship built with them. But uh, uh, in their mindset, they would have this thinking that, okay, this particular person is trying to cheat you, or use unfair means to get those contracts, right? So when you realize, when the customer would realize that, okay, things like those are happening, that trust would soon start to break. And sooner or later there would be a situation where you would be getting a lot less work from your trusted customers, and as a result of that, your brand value of your company would go down, brand value of you as an individual would go down, and as a result, uh, your earnings would go down as well. And the whole concept of this particular country working on trust would uh, would go against you, right? And as a result, you would not become you would become unsuccessful. You are successful today, but 3 years down the road, you would be an unsuccessful person, and you would probably need to start from scratch again. And that is a big mistake that like many individuals who are coming from different countries to Canada is making. Like, just to make quick money, they would use unfair means, but as a result of that, they would lose out on a lot of good value that they could have got from that customer down the road, right? So those are the few things that I wanted to bring to your attention, Nisha.
Wow. Those are many things, I think, for
Yeah.
people to understand and take it in, Simran. Simran, when you were saying about trust, integrity, and being ethical in everything what we do, yes, not that everybody practices it. Even
Yeah.
how many other times people keep saying it out loud, people still go back to their old forms or old norms of way doing it, right? Now, and you said there is a goal setting, that when you're coming in here, what is your purpose, what is your goal to be here, right?
Yeah.
And when you came in, how long have you been here?
So I came as an international student in 2012, September of 2012. So it
Wow.
would be 11 years now in a
11
few
years.
days. I think
And
it's 11 years yesterday. I
oh,
came on August 23rd. So it's 11 years yesterday. Yeah.
congratulations. So,
Yeah.
Simran, with that, like in this past 11 years, there's lots of changes that's happened within us as well as within the community itself, right? And there has been a lot of people who have been, now when we see there's an influx of people who are coming in, like there's more than before. Now,
Yeah.
when you see that, how has your challenges, like when you came in as a student, you had certain challenges with you, right? Are those the similar kind of things that nowadays the children are facing, like people who are coming into studies or people who are moving in from our country to be like host country to be here? How do you see that? Are the challenges become more higher or different?
I think the challenges has remained. Only the influx of people have uh, caused that to be, uh, better known now, right? So, or if I say, like, because the influx of people are so much now, especially in the Calgary area, now those challenges are more prominent, but they still remain more or less,
Okay.
right? So, for example, I came as an international student over here. I did my MBA from Haskell School of Business, University of Calgary. So, and I was a pretty good student back home in India. But many good students back home in India, they could be good because they can easily cram stuff and write those in the exams, right?
True.
And get marks, which unfortunately the Indian education system is more concerned about marks than the knowledge that you are gaining from that
Right.
education, right? Over here, in the first semester in itself, I kind of flunked my first semester,
Oh,
right?
oh,
I was cramming stuff and like trying to say like, okay, let's cram it, write it in the exams, and I'll pass it. And that didn't really work at all, right? So that was the first learning that I received, that okay, the education system over here is very different from the education system in India, right? So over here they may have taught you few things in the classroom, but they want you to understand from the topics that are being discussed in the class, rather than just read through the definitions, cram the definitions, and expect that those definitions would be asked in the exam again. No, that's not really the case over here, right? So they are, in most cases during my MBA program, whatever we discussed as part of the class, they wanted us to understand that and implement that in our exams rather than, write the same things again. So that was a big learning that I achieved. And according to me, I've been associated with my university. I've been, mentoring new students who are coming in there as well. And more or less, I think the new students, especially students who are coming from India and Southeast Asian countries, they are experiencing the same issues, right? Back home in India, everyone thinks like, okay, I'll study, I'll get good marks. Companies would be coming to my campus, they'll be hiring me, and I'll get a job by the end of my education. That doesn't work that way. Probably 10% of the students get their job right from their campus over here in Canada, right? So those things are little different. Sure, economy has changed over here in the whole of Canada, right? So we at back in 2012 we were still growing at a fairly good pace. Now we've slowed down a lot, right? Oil and gas being one factor, and a lot of influx of people being the other factor as well. What has why the housing market is of that importance now is, especially in the Calgary area, is people have realized like Toronto and Vancouver as cities, they have become overcrowded. It's very difficult for people to settle down over there. And now we are in the process of making Calgary another Toronto and Vancouver over here. Right. So that is why the housing market over here is more prominent. I bought my house in 2016, 2017 for a certain value. Do I think that that value was correct for the house that I bought? Probably not. It was overpriced at that time as well. But it is now more overpriced because now people are coming from other countries who probably have cash in hands, and they are trying to, outbid you in this whole process. And unfortunately, because of the economy and because of factors which are related to, central banks over here in Canada, because of them trying to control inflation, the other companies like builders or developers, now they are trying to get benefit out of you. Like if a house took like $200,000 to construct back in 2016, is it taking $400,000 now? Probably not. Maybe from 200 to 250, 230, 250, sure, that much would have increased, but it is surely not costing you 400,000. But because the government is trying to control inflation, they've increased the interest rates that way that okay, the builders and developers are now forcing you to buy houses at inflated prices, right?
True.
So what I'm trying to say is those factors existed. We are now experiencing those factors much more over here in Calgary because more influx of people are coming into Calgary now.
True.
Back in 2016, probably those like people in Toronto and Vancouver might have experienced the same factors which we are experiencing now, and maybe 5 years down the road, Edmonton would experience the same factors, right? So it's
True.
basically uh, more people have aggravated the situation rather than controlling it. I would say that way. Yeah.
Wow. Yes, I
Mhm.
think inflation, economic factors, social factors are all becoming a part of one's life, right? And with all of these things, Simran, I'm sure you went through a phase of stressful periods, right? What do you do with your stress? Like, how do you do that self care, which we all talk about now, right? We have to be doing so much of self care for us now if we want to see ourselves growing and moving forward in life. And how do you deal with that?
Uh, Talk to people. I think Nisha advised me to do that, right? So I think that I'll sooner or later realize like, okay, you cannot really come up with solutions to all your problems on your own. Sometimes it's important that you talk to other individuals as well, right?
True.
Gain your like talk about your problems with them, try to see what kind of solutions that they are recommending, and then do an analysis or brainstorming session with respect to trying to figure out whether those solutions that people are recommending, whether they really make sense for you or not. Still, like, you are the right person who should be coming up with solutions to your own problems. You are the individuals who would be coming to for the solutions, but you can at least ask for help from other folks,
True.
right?
Yes.
So that is one thing that I have off late understood, that okay, we can do that, right? So talk to your family members, talk to your parents. They have went through this whole process, maybe in a different country probably, but they have went through the same problem, same processes. So, and they have some learnings that they can share
Yes.
with you, right? So talk to your friends, your relatives, your parents especially. And then again, going back to my same point, understand your objective and your goal. And and you need to realize that in order to achieve your objectives or goals, there would be problems that you would be experiencing.
True.
And if you are able to solve your problems, you'll become successful, because probably everyone may be set their goals. Elon Musk might be setting his own goals, or those individuals might be setting their own goals. The more successful people, but have they not experienced problems? Like now, for example, Elon Musk is probably thinking that my $44 billion that I went into Twitter is a is a gong show, right? But is he trying to solve those problems? Yes, right. He's first understanding that there are problems that exist in that platform, and
Yes.
that he is trying to solve those problems.
True.
Would he be successful or not? That's a totally separate discussion, right? Uh, but he's working towards a goal that I invested this particular money to take this platform from this point to this point,
Yes.
and now he is trying to achieve that, right? So
Absolutely.
that's the same thing that you do with your life as well, right? So
Yes.
and you need to you need to understand that problems would come, otherwise everyone would be an Elon Musk, which is probably not
Yes.
possible, right? So
No, and
yeah,
it's like, when we say that when problem comes, either people run away from that or hide it. Like, you have to solve it. You need to
yeah.
move forward to solve it. And sometimes we need that help and support. And Simran, as in the community itself, like, what do you feel, or how have you embraced Calgary with all the goodness, right? Like, what is something that you feel when you feel stressed out? Is there a place that you would like to visit, or is there something that really you can tap on in Calgary and say, like, I really love to be there. It just opens up myself. It's like, kind
uh,
of helps you
so
with that.
from that perspective, moving from India to Calgary was a no-brainer for me, right? So I live in Chandigarh back home in India, and it's at the foothills of the Himalayas, the Shivaliks, right? And every time a person gets stressed, they can easily go like take a drive of 40 minutes. You'll soon start to experience cool breeze, and probably that cool breeze would take away some of your problems that you're experiencing in your life, right? So I would give the same recommendation to other individuals as well. If you are experiencing problems in your life, going into a room or getting yourself, be in an enclosed room and crying it out, it won't help you out at all. You'll probably start to uh, experience more issues that way, right? So uh, uh, you'll be in more medical stress
Hmm.
than what you would be if you are actually with your friends or families, right? So many people do it different way. I sometimes uh, I do venture into the mountains over here as well, right? So you take a
Nice.
drive, you go in there, even sitting in downtown just besides the Bow River, which is flowing, that can help you relieve stress as well, right? So whenever you are experiencing stress, the important thing is that probably the environment around yours is not good at that time, and that is why you are feeling that stress too much. So in those cases, my recommendation would be to change the environment, probably, right?
True.
So if you are sitting with certain individuals who are increasing your stress, maybe move away, go and talk to some other folks. That could be an easier way to do it. If you have a fight with your, for example, a wife or your husband in your house, instead of continuing to fight with that same individuals, probably move away, go for a walk. That helps, right? And we are lucky that Alberta is probably house to so many beautiful lakes, right? So go go into the mountains, go to Banff, places like there. Kananaskis is a lot quieter than Banff if people don't like to go into busy places, right? So those areas, they are like uh, so beautiful that go in there, put earplugs in your ears, or listen to some music sitting over there. That could be an easier thing to uh, reduce your stress. As simple as that. Yeah.
That's nice. And what's your fun activity, Simran?
Uh, I don't do too many fun activities actually,
Oh,
unfortunately. Uh, so fun activities is I'm very tech savvy. So I try to look into any new products which are coming into the market, or try to understand what new technologies that are coming into the market as well, right? So uh, I used to read a lot of books. Unfortunately, those have reduced in the past few years. But like from a tech wise, like any company which is releasing new products, I try to go in. If I'm not even able to buy it, at least read about those products and see what are the new things that those products are promoting, right? And see like unfortunately or unfortunately, our current life is moving around technology, right? From ringing your doorbell to
Yes,
recording this session, it's technology now, right? So
absolutely.
did you ever think about like, okay, 5 years ago, when you'll click on your doorbell, it would start a recording or you'll be able to talk through your doorbell? Probably not, right? But those are the
No.
things that are now coming in. So unfortunately, you cannot take technology out from your life now. So I've realized that, unfortunately. So, and I've now embraced that. So I'm just reading a lot about tech. So those are my
Good.
quick hobbies.
That's
Yeah.
nice. I'm
Yeah.
not a tech savvy person, so I kind of ask everybody's help. Like, can you please help me with this? Can you
Sure.
please help me?
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So with that, Simran, I just wanted to ask you, like, is there any favorite spots or eateries that you really enjoy in Calgary? Like, we miss our home food sometimes, right? Our home places and everything. But have you figured out one place or two places which you feel like, oh, this reminds me of my home?
Uh, so food wise, I'm still very grounded to my own Indian food. I
Okay.
really don't like going to like, okay, let's go to this Thai place or let's
Okay.
go to this Mexican place. That's not really a go-to thing for me. So food wise, I think trying to eat authentic good food is what I would like to eat. And so of late, there are a few Pakistani places. Like there is one in Castle Ridge, Falcon Ridge area, which is like called Faisal's Kebab Hut. So it's a good place to eat kebabs, cheap as well. It's not very costly. So that is my go-to place for food if I'm really craving for good Indian Pakistani food any day. Yeah.
Wow. That's really nice, Simran. If
No,
there's
you won't get any, five-star places from me. I really hate that food. So
no problems at all, because sometimes whatever we have or we crave for is maybe someone else is also craving for the same or similar kind of food, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's nice to share that. Simran, if there's something that you would like to share, or one point, something for people who are here listening to you now, about life or about your work or about they being here, what would be that? Like, you've shared so much about yourself, about the work that you do, but if there is something that they can take away from this conversation, what would be that?
So, I think we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about ethics, integrity. We've talked about goal setting. The
Yes,
last thing that I can talk about is like consider every day as a new day, pretty much, right?
yes,
So the problems that you experienced yesterday, it is not completely true that you'll be experiencing the same problems today,
yeah,
right? So, for example, my yesterday's calendar was completely open, my today's calendar is completely blocked, right? So,
yes,
as simple as that. So, consider every day as a new day. Always take into account your objectives at the start of your new day and try to work towards those objectives, right? Because even like this conversation, it is probably helping you out a little bit. It's
yes,
helping me out from you as well. I'm an introvert. I don't really talk to too many people, so that this particular meeting is helping me out to share my experiences, right? So that is
yes,
a good thing that I'm getting out of this particular conversation, and probably you're getting the same thing here
yes,
from me as well, right? So, so that is why I'm saying like start a new day from scratch, kind of start to work towards your objectives, towards your goals. If you had any tough conversations with any individual yesterday, it's not completely true that you'll be having those same tough conversations today as well. Try to start those conversations from zero again. Forget about all the heated conversations that you might have had with that individual yesterday. This could be a totally new day, right? So maybe he was having some stressful moments yesterday, and that's why you had those heated conversations, right? So start a day from scratch. It's a new day. Take forward your learnings, positives or negative, from your previous days for sure, and try to implement on those learnings. But don't be in a very close mindset saying like, okay, I I've been having my bad days since the last 3 weeks, and I'll continue to have those bad days in the next
True.
3 weeks as well. That's not really true at all. Yeah.
No. And that's really nice to know that, Simran, like everybody, we all, so many, at least, I mean, I've also been in a position where we've stayed back in the past, right? Instead of coming to the present. And this helps
Yeah.
us to see, like, yes, today is a new day. How do we move forward? Where do we go about it? Simran, if somebody has to connect with you, is there a place, is there a number, or is there a platform where they can connect with you to know more about you or the work that you do with the community and to seek some guidance when they want it?
Sure, I believe you both have my personal email and phone number, so you can reach me out on that, or you can reach me out on my LinkedIn
Yes.
profile. I can share those with you later on. Nisha, I'm more than happy to share those across to your folks. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Simran. And people, he's giving in all of the information. You have another person contact here whom you can contact and see how he can help you, because it's always better to ask someone who knows instead of you trying to figure out how to start from the scratch, because he may have gone through that same experiences as what you're going through now. So reach out and see how he can help you as well as you can be helped. And I really want to thank you so much, Simran, for this wonderful time that you have given for us and helping
No
us to
problem.
learn something more about you.
Sure, no, more than happy to do that, Nisha. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.